And here's the breakdown of what I'm seeing in your read. So, right now, you are mentally working through that finding of self love again. Um, I guess what I could say most about that is that if you don't love yourself, you definitely will attract the wrong types of relationships and energy exchanges with people in your life. That's inevitable. Um, this card that came through, it can signal a breakup or a falling out with others in your life. So it does seem like you really feel out of sync with the people that you have surrounded yourself with, and you aren't sharing that same emotional connection that you did in the past. As far as the challenges and obstacles that are going on, there's definitely this feeling of things from your past kicking up. It's like everything going on is kind of triggering like these old memories or old emotions. You might have some times where you're wishing for how things used to be, but there's also like this PTSD type energy. It's like having to relive like this season or lesson of your life that was really hard, and internally you're kind of feeling and reliving that all over again. Jenna, it definitely feels like you've kind of forgotten your happiness or your inner child right now. And I know that you're finding life really repetitive and stale in a lot of ways. Um, so, and that comes from taking on way too much responsibility and not having enough play in your life. There's definitely, this heaviness in adulting too much, so to say. So having your connection to your inner child again would definitely help you with that. Consciously, it seems like you're aware that you're going through this personal and spiritual transition. This is kind of like so you can leave some things behind, be it, your relationship or your own belief system or just like your behavioral patterns, that type of stuff that's no longer serving you. You are going through this personal and private journey, and that's kind of why you've kept yourself in isolation, because you know what you need to release as far as those things go. It's just that you're resistant to change, so you're really reluctant to do it. And I guess you're kind of hoping that things are going to resolve and go away on their own. Or, you're kind of fooling yourself thinking, you can put up with it, but even consciously, it's time to move away from it. As far as subconsciously, what's influencing you most, and even though, this position of the card says subconscious, I know some of this is conscious for you as well. And it's definitely that the obtaining of money and finding ways to generate money is like your main priority and influence in all your actions right now. What I have to say in regards to that, John, and I can't tell you this enough, is just to remember to live by the law of attraction, manifestation, attitude of gratitude, all that type of stuff. I know you're on TikTok right now. I definitely encourage you to follow creators who are teaching these methods. It's super, super imperative for you to learn these things to change your life in the ways that you're seeking. Just send your positive energy out into the world and your intent into the universe, that type of stuff. That's how you receive more of that back in return for yourself. And in your recent past, you really were having some good money come in, and you definitely had financial stability, and you did think that was going to translate into the long term and your long-term success. Your home was stable. Your home life was stable, your career was stable, your relationships were all stable. So recent past, Ten of Pentacles, things were going well for you. As far as your near future, two cards did come through, and so this is a little longer. interpreting them. And this does show that coming up for you, you're still going to be going through this period of retreat and kind of withdrawal. You know, you're working on your own alignment, or will be, and that's super important for you right now. It's just imperative for you right now. You know, you may continue to be this hermit a little while longer, but one thing I have to caution you about, John, is just be careful not to shut out your friends and your loved ones. Like, be certain to let people know that you're needing this alone time, and that, you know, you're going to reach out when you're ready. But, you know, people need to understand that you're in this period of exhaustion, this period of burnout, and you have, you know, this stagnation going on, that you just really need to this rest to recharge your mind, body, and soul. You have had a lot of tough times lately. So people who love you are going to understand that you need to step back and take time to gain perspective. You know, it does show again, you know, you're going to be struggling with this vision of what you really want for the long term. You need to take this time to figure exactly what that is, because if you don't have that vision and that idea, there's no way you can manifest it into existence. You have to figure out exactly what that would look like for you. You know, you may still have a lot of frustration and slow results in the near future for a little while, but just be patient, because, you know, it's really important that you just appreciate each small progress that you're making. Even if your work hasn't paid off as planned. I mean, remember that, you know, your expectations in doing this may be just a little too high, or that you need to change the way you're going about it. There's no guarantees in this field. There's no guarantees in life, period. So don't be so hard on yourself. But John, it's just so important that you remember the attitude of gratitude. And again, you know, card 7's talking about, you know, you have all these ideas and you love to try them all out. That's kind of your gift, is creating these ideas, but you feel like restless with each one, impatient with each one. So you're kind of a little in this and a little in that, you know, your hands in all the pots at the same time, but you're not really coming to completion with any of these things. You're still in the experimental level, and that's okay. But you have this big desire for these new experiences and these new levels of consciousness. So my suggestion as far as that goes would be definitely that you may find a mentor you enjoy working with, and that would be really, really helpful to you. You know, you need to find somebody that can kind of help lead you forward to where you need to be. You need somebody who's going to help you take those little creative sparks that you have and kind of ground them down to reality, so these things that are such great ideas can be implemented on a physical realm, if that makes sense. Okay, so the people in your life, again, 2 cards pulled up for this. So there are people in your life who are trying to help you get your projects up and running and help you work through some of these limiting beliefs that you kind of have for yourself or about things. You kind of have this black and white thinking sometimes in regards to how things have to go, but there is always an in-between with stuff. And you have people that are willing to help you work through that and find new ideas to make the ideas you already have work better. You know, the 3 of Pentacles card that came through, it definitely shows that you have this team behind you, and that, you know, it's important for you to remember that each of these people in your life have an important role to help you kind of do this. You know, everybody coming together as a team, that can create something so much more significant than trying to undertake things on your own. And you have this tendency in your relationship and your career, or just in life in general, to feel you have to take everything on your own shoulders. And the reality is that when you collaborate with others, you kind of create these synergies, and that most definitely has bigger results. Your hopes and fears. So, Five of Cups. You definitely have this big fear of failure and disappointment. You're really hard on yourself. This card, it shows when a situation hasn't turned out the way you expected, and you're feeling sad or regretful and disappointed. That's what it shows. It shows instead of moving forward on in life, you're kind of wallowing in this self-pity a little bit. John, sometimes it seems like all you can focus on are the things that went wrong and didn't play out right, how you failed. So, yeah, definitely failure would be your greatest fear. But the hope in that, the hope part comes in, is that I think you know that there's new opportunities out there, new possibilities, and that, it's important to remember you'll be able to do all this when you shift your mindset, because everything is about perspective. So if you take the time to focus on what can go right and kind of take on the attitude of having a glass half full in your mindset, that could make a huge difference for you. Huge. And I know you want something tangible. You're a person who really desires that tangible, but to get that tangible, you really need to conquer that mental part of it first. So, the final card, the final 10th card, King of Cups. Your possible outcome, as things can change. But, this isn't a bad card for you. This is actually a really good card for you as a possible outcome. And what this says to me is that if you continue to do this inner work that we talked about, that you're going through and is going to continue to come up, and you keep working on, just adjusting your perspective and working on your manifestations, that you will find yourself back in control of your feelings in your life again. You kind of have to accept things, allow things to get better and not to get the better of you, if that makes sense. It does seem in the future you will, let me think, I guess use your intellect would be the way that I put it, but that word doesn't feel right, to kind of make your choices. It's not so much use your intellect, but just not letting your emotions steer you off course. Like, when you react with others, you're going to be able to navigate their strong feelings, and their emotional triggers aren't going to trigger you as much. You're going to be able to keep that peace and harmony in yourself no matter how they act. John, also, I really do feel that you have a male friend coming into the picture in the future, and this is going to be somebody you could really depend on to help you. This may be the mentor that was mentioned, in the other part of this reading. I do feel him coming in. You're going to reach this period where, you rise above your current obstacles, and your career is going to improve, and you're going to find harmony and love with whoever you're with. So, things are going to look a lot better, but the thing about manifestation is we have to put some of the steps into place first in order for those things to happen. So, keep working at it, keep doing these things, and I do feel that, coming up in your future, things are going to look a lot better for you in all aspects of your life. If you have any questions, you know how to reach me. Love you lots. Always here for you.